I will just give you the background of this session, why we are doing this. We had a dinner that with the University of The Gambia Student Union, the executive, about 22 of them, after the student week that was held in Tendaba. TAF Africa Global partnered with the University of the Gambia. So I was invited as a guest speaker, and in Tendaba I was quite impressed with the level of organization and participation by the students. So in giving back, in honoring the student union, the executives, we invited them over for dinner, just to say thank you and encourage them. And at the dinner, we had obviously discussions across the table. And that was where the TAF Leadership Academy was born. Because for me, I saw a lot of hope, you know, from the eyes of all these young ladies and men. So I thought that we should take move it further, you know, move the ball further down the court by engaging them and also having a structured program. So we deliberated on it, consulted on it, not only amongst our team, but with the students and also partners that we deal with, both at the national and international level. And then people thought it was a brilliant idea that it should be started. So we're starting today with the first topic, which is Futuristic Vision. We have a list of topics that we will be discussing. And this will be done once every month, preferably at the last week of every month. So we will invite a man or woman of good character within the society who will come and talk to you young people. You are calling yourself the leaders, but I will call you the future leaders. Future can mean tomorrow. So, so that they can talk to you, one, guide you, inspire you, advise you. So when you get into the position of leadership, you can act properly. Now, I think this is absolutely necessary because some of you are in your final year in university. So the next step is you get into the labor market. And as I said in Tendaba, when I looked at the number of young people like yourselves there, I saw you as Gambia's assets. Whether we like it or not, you are our assets. Some of us who's crossed the age of 60 going up, we are in the last quarter of life, what I call the last quarter of life. He's not there yet. Our honorable speaker is not there yet. So therefore, I think the best thing we can do for you is at least to guide you. So when you get there, and pretty soon, there are certain things you will do right. And if we are being fair with ourselves as Gambians, and we want to move our beautiful country ahead, these are the things that we need to implant in society. Good leadership quality. So we hope that as you go through this program, which is obviously a year's program, it's 1 year long, that whatever you learn from here, it will be inculcated in your brains until the day you leave this world. And our plans are that we are starting with 50 with this batch. And whatever you learn from here today, whatever you take away from here, please go and inspire others, inspire your peers. I mean, so that this thing will now go beyond just this classroom. Next year, we hope to double it into 100, because our plan is that in the next 5 years, we would like to have 1,000 graduates through this program. So as the numbers grow, we hope that there will be good quality leadership in our small country and beyond. So without much ado, that's briefly the orientation. I will now just introduce our honorable speaker, who is nobody other than Mr. I call him President. He's the President of the Gambia Chamber of Commerce, the President of the Gambia Chamber of Commerce, and the CEO of JFIN, Mr. Mohamed Jagana. Mr. Mohamed Jagana, on a brief bio, I'll just read his bio out so you know who is going to talk to you. He is an FCCA. You know what an FCCA is? Fellow of the College, what's it, Certified Chartered Accountant. So he's a fellow. Thank you. Mr. M. Jagana studied as Chartered Accountant Associate, well, in bracket, Association of Certified Chartered Accountants in the United Kingdom and qualified in 1995. He joined his family business back in the Gambia before starting his entrepreneurial career. He has been involved in several startups in Africa as an entrepreneur with over 15 years of experience in financial services and biometric technology. He has a wide experience in the financial sector, strong governance and leadership skills. In 2002, he was a founding shareholder of Pristine Consulting, and in 2005, he and his business partner started J Financial Services Limited in the Gambia. In 2006, he was part of a consortium of Gambian entrepreneurs that set up an SPV, meaning Gambia Investment Group, to acquire a stake and set up EcoBank Gambia affiliate. In 2013, he was appointed as board member of EcoBank Gambia. He is also involved as director in Volo Africa since 2011, a leading biometric and software integration company with experience in financial and healthcare sector. In August 2017, he was appointed as board member of the Gambia Ports Authority. In 2012, he was elected president of Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Before that, he served in various capacities as a board member since 2003. He has extensive knowledge of diplomatic and cross-border challenges in West Africa from his experience as the current president of the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the former vice president of FUPAO. He has great interpersonal skills with ability to relate to persons from diverse backgrounds and cultures. He also serves in various non-profit associations and local charities and is an active member, chartered member since 2000, of the Rotary of Fajara, past president from 2008 to 2009. In May 2018, he was appointed as the chairman, Gambia National Olympic Committee Marketing Committee. So that's Mr. Jagana for you. Let's put our hands together for you. So Mr. Jagana, you have the floor, and those are your students, your future leaders.
The topic today is Futuristic Vision, elaborating on the importance of a successful leader's ability to have a clear and informed vision of the future. It's a great pleasure and honor to be invited to give the first lecture of the TAF Leadership Academy. I have always convinced myself that those who will take this country forward are the youth. And today, I can say that my hopes are renewed once again, because I am part of the youth just like you. Today and any other day from now, you who gather here would be taking the responsibility to change what is bad to good, what is good to better, and what is better to best for this nation of ours. Because you are here today and you'll be responsible for tomorrow. I will paraphrase the words of Edmund Burger, and I would like you to listen. After this, you don't have to listen to the other things I'm talking about. Tell me the sentiment that occupies the heart of your rising population, and I will tell you the characters of your future. I repeat, tell me the sentiments that occupies the heart of your rising population, and I will tell you the characters of your future. With your determination and the belief you have in Gambia, it gives me hope to muster the courage to tell the world that the sentiments that occupies the heart and minds of everybody here and the rising population today is to change the narratives for a better Gambia. And I think all of us believe in that. That's why we're here today. What is futuristic? It's defined as something of the future, very modern, that is not yet seen. What is vision? Vision is the ability to see, or eyesight, or to think ahead of your time. Something that you might imagine, a picture that you might see in your mind, that you try to narrate to people for them to understand what you're talking about, because it's not been seen or done yet. Something that you see or dream about. Visions are those inner bodyguards that prevents you from collapsing your future in the process of building it, because you think through the whole process. Ladies and gentlemen, the response of a blind person when asked the question, what is worse than being blind? Helen Keller responded, is having a sight without a vision, which is very dangerous. You have a sight, but you have no vision. Visionary leadership is self-conquering, and if you're able to conquer yourself from fears, if you are able to spot your position in your quest for greatness, then you are trudging on the right path for self-knowledge, which is the beginning of becoming an effective leader. So you have to invest in yourself, you have to read, you have to network, you have to talk to people, and you have to have an open mind if you want to be an effective visionary leader. We would assume that a leader with the strength of futuristic vision will have an incredible ability to see the future. This ability to see and explain the future is what draws them forward and excites them to purpose to great accomplishments. By putting together a team that share the same values and culture to achieve the team's goal as a success for a team, not for an individual, is what would be a futuristic leader. Futuristic leaders should have the ability to look past the events of today and into the possibilities of tomorrow. They can visualize new ideas, new concepts, new markets about their customers, their products, their services, strategies, business models, and even for a country. So it's not limited to business. It includes also nations, neighborhood, clubs, or anything. Successful leaders will need to think further into the future and implement ideas in a timely manner to remain competitive in a world that will change faster than we can understand. 10, 15 years ago, what was in the world today is almost ancient or archaic. They will be equipped with the ability to imagine, envision, predict, and to some extent project what has not been realized or thought of at the current moment. Futuristic thinking is a key ingredient for any leader who wants to be effective in holding a long-term strategic plan. Because it's not about today, it's about what is today, where do we want to be tomorrow, day after tomorrow, 10, 15, 20, 25 years. Today, when we consider futuristic leaders, two names prop up among the top list in the world. One of them is Henry Ford and Steve Jobs. We all drove our cars and got here or got into a car thanks to Henry Ford. We all communicate easily thanks to Steve Jobs. They are excellent examples of visionaries who disrupted their industries and today are legendary. Today, any one of you here could develop their own futuristic thinking skills and set the narratives for major changes that would impact lives of millions of people all over the world. You just have to build a strong ability to achieve that vision on your own and think out of the box. And my friend, ladies and gentlemen, it's possible. I'm telling you, believe me. By the way, being around naysayers or people that say it's not possible can have a negative impact and limit the effective thinking for you. So if you want to be an eagle and fly over there, you cannot hang around with chickens who just want to hang around down there. So you might have to kick off some of your negative friends away from you. Features of a futuristic leader: they have to be visionary. They have to have the ability to see the big picture and not caught up or held down by existing conditions. That is critical. You have to have the ability to use your imagination to lay down a detailed vision of what is and what ought to be. When Steve Jobs wanted to develop the iPhone, he had a team of people that he brought together and told them that I want a phone that carries a camera, a typewriter, a phone, and a whole lot of things. And he wanted it sizable enough to fit in a pocket. And I think today all of us are benefiting from that, whether you have a Samsung or an iPhone. You have to be a risk taker. Great leaders of all times have one time or though take great risks in order for you to become what you want to have or to be. You have to be able to take that decision. I mean, it could be a decision to go to war, a decision to move a whole town, a decision to change your lifestyle. You have to have that sacrifice that appears to you. Sacrifice what appears to be great for what is even greater until you are ready to sacrifice what will not last for what will not last. Then you are most likely not to be ready to be the best. So if you cannot sacrifice, you cannot be a leader. In as much as you want to be your best and you want to take risk, but make sure that you take calculated risk. Because as a leader, you're going to affect the lives of a lot of people, not only you. It could be your immediate family, your neighborhood, your town, city, or the whole country. A leader has to be fearless. The ability to challenge the status quo and demand questions as why is it not happening? As a team leader who has a vision, you need to ask your team why is it not happening. To use curiosity to envision a better future that can only happen if you break barriers. So if somebody tells you why, tell them no, that's not possible. Yesterday, this time, this is not part of my speech, but I'll talk about it. We were standing here and I asked for a lectern. They said, we don't have one. Mustafa said, we'll have one by the time you come here tomorrow. That's some of the traits of a futuristic leader, to make it happen. You make sure you lead the team to understand that business as usual stuff will not cut it. For you want to exist and stay relevant and be head of the team. When John F. Kennedy decided to talk to the Americans that we're going to the moon, they didn't have the technology. But as a leader, he made the team believe that as a country, they had the power to do it. You need to have the expertise, the ability to put together a team that will constantly collect and analyze the current trends, project future potential businesses and markets and opportunities and threats. It is important for you as the leader to have your finger on the pulse of your business or your industry that you participate in. You need to be proactive. A visionary leader just cannot sit and wait for things to happen. You have to be proactive. People will follow you. You have to have the ability to set aside time to think and reflect on your vision rather than being swallowed by day-to-day tasks and lose sight of the bigger picture. This is why it's important that you set aside for your thought and contemplation of what and where you want to be. This should allow you as a leader to reflect on the possible long-term effects of your decision. As I mentioned earlier, your decision is beyond you. It could be your neighborhood, your football team, your business, or millions of people around the world that are going to depend on your decision, which can help you determine the direction to take and solve possible challenges and effectively plan and strategize for successful implementation of your vision. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow youth men and youth ladies, I want to give a short story about the story of Babylon and the richest man in Babylon. Babylon was a kingdom in the ancient Mesopotamia, founded around 2300 BC. The city was built on the Euphrates River, and at that time was the richest city and had some of the wealthiest people in the world. Today, Babylon is located in modern-day Iraq. And I want you to listen to this story because it's very interesting. The glory of Babylon endures down through the ages, that its reputation comes to be the richest city, its treasures as fabulous. Yet, it was not always so. The riches of Babylon were the result of the wisdom of its people and the king. The king had a vision, and I'm just going to summarize the vision in this short story. When King Sargon returned to Babylon after defeating his enemies, the Elamites, he was confronted with a serious situation. The royal chancellor, that is the minister of finance in modern days, explained to the king, after many years of great and prosperity brought to our people, because your majesty had the vision to build the great irrigation systems and canals and the mighty temples of the gods. Money was flowing whilst the city was being built. But after several years, there was no more new buildings or anything. Now that these workers have completed, the people seem unable to support themselves because the income was not flowing around the economy. The laborers are without employment. The merchants have few customers. But if the laborers don't have employment to buy, the merchants cannot sell. If the merchants cannot sell, they cannot buy from their suppliers. The farmers are unable to produce and sell their produce because what they produced last year they could not sell, so they got into losses. The people have not enough gold to buy food. In those days, they didn't have dollars, dollar, and euro. It was metal that was used as currencies. The king wondered, where has all the gold gone that we spent for these great improvements in the great city? The chancellor responded, it has found its way, I fear, into the possession of a few rich men of our city. It filtered through the fingers of most people as quickly as goat milk goes through the strainer. If you get paid, you go and buy your food supplies and other stuff. So in the end, if you don't have a job that pays you, it becomes a challenge to feed your family. Now the stream of gold has ceased to flow. Most of our people have nothing for their earnings. After some reflection, the king as a leader asked, why should so few men be able to acquire gold? Is that fair? The chancellor responded, because they know how. The chancellor responded, because they know how. And one may not condemn a man for succeeding because he knows how. Neither may one with justice take away from a man what he has fairly earned to give to men of less ability. My apologies, I'm using word men here. When I say men, I mean people. Nothing to be gender biased. But why demand the king? Should not all the people learn how to accumulate gold and therefore become themselves rich and prosperous and take care of their families? The chancellor responded, it's possible, Your Excellency, but who can teach them? Certainly not the priest, because they know not of making money. So the king sat there, started contemplating. So he turned around to the chancellor and asked, who best knows in all our city how to become wealthy? The Chancellor responded, who has amassed the greatest wealth in Babylon? Akkad. He is the richest man in Babylon and the wealthiest at that time. The king requested that Akkad to be brought before him. Akkad was brought before the king. Upon arrival the next morning, the king asked Akkad, is it true thou art the richest man in Babylon? Akkad said, so it is reported, Your Majesty, and no man disputes it, so I assume I am the richest man in Babylon. The king asked, how did you become so wealthy? And is it possible to avail to all citizens of our good city your knowledge and systems of gathering wealth? After a long discussion, it was agreed by Akkad that he would teach men on how to acquire and accumulate wealth or gold. The king was excited that his vision of teaching all the citizens of the city the secrets of wealth acquisition is possible, and sooner or later, his city will be the wealthiest city in the world. Akkad emphasized and reassured the king that it's practical that which one man knows can be taught to others. So as Mr. Njai said, what you guys have been taught here, we hope you'll replicate over the next 10, 30, 40, 50 years of your lifespan. The king was delighted that in the near future, his vision of having a city of wealthy men would be achieved. The king's eyes started to glow. He was very excited because he realized that he would be carrying citizens that are powerful because they were wealthy. Akkad, those speaketh the words I wish to hear, will thou lend your thyself to this great cause? Will thou teach thy knowledge to a school for teachers, each of whom shall teach others until they are enough trained to teach those truths to every subject worthy in my domain, said the king. Akkad agreed to contribute towards the vision of the king and asked the chancellor to arrange for a class of 100 men to be trained. And Akkad agreed for a class of 100 men to be trained for the secrets or cures to fatten a purse. A fortnight later, in compliance with the king's command, the chosen 100 men assembled in a great hall of the Temple of Learning, seated upon colorful rings in semicircles. Akkad sat beside a small tabouret upon which smoked a scarlet lamp, sending forth a strange and pleasant odor. Everybody seated around in a semicircle, listening to him. Standing in front of 100 eager men, Akkad opened the training with the following. He wanted to teach them or mention the steps that they need to take. As a dutiful subject of our great king, I stand before you in this service to teach you on how to fatten your purse. Because once I was a poor youth who did greatly desire gold, and because I found knowledge that enabled me to acquire it, he asked that I impart unto you my knowledge. And this is knowledge that I hope you will carry and impart on other people upon this city. Akkad, over the next couple of nights, would share his knowledge of gaining wealth through 7 steps, which if followed by any of the attendees, they could attain goal like Akkad and be rich. Akkad concluded the lessons with a summary of the 7 steps that need to be followed. And the first step is start, type, pursue to fatten your wealth. That is, you have to pursue, have the desire. Control, tie expenditures. make Thai gold multiply. That means if you have a little bit of money, make sure it works to create more money. Guard Thai treasurers from losses. Make of Thai dwelling a profitable investment. Ensure future income. Increase Thai ability to earn. Go thou forward and teach these truths, that every honorable subject of this majesty may also share liberally in ample wealth of our beloved city. The above story is a summary from The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason, published in a book format in 1926. I think you're talking about over almost 80 years ago, but I think it still applies. Whether you're acquiring wealth, knowledge, or anything, it still applies. As we saw from the story, a visionary leader must have the passion, will, discipline, and be creative and develop the necessary knowledge acquired to achieve the long-term visions and the goals set. The individual is expected to inspire his people to interpret his vision and execute the plan over a period of time. You cannot just say, this is my vision. You have to have the inspiration so the people that would execute the vision as a team would buy it in and it will succeed. We expect a futuristic leader to have certain characteristics that would be employed to inspire teams to greatness. These include great communicator. The leader needs to have communication skills to transfer his vision in a belief factor to the team. If you're going to explain to somebody that you want every Gambian to go to Alaska, and most of these Gambians from Dembakunda, that is my village, 400 kilometers away, have never seen snow, you have to be able to communicate to them to believe that when you go in Alaska, you need to be wearing heavy clothes. So as a leader, you have to transform your ideas to people's minds so that it can be executed. You need to have a charisma. The leader has to have charisma that will carry the team and give them confidence. From the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you network, you need to have that confidence in you as a leader. You need to be organized. The leader has to be structured and organized, hence setting the best practices to follow. And as I mentioned earlier, they need to be able to take risk and be strategic planners. Futuristic visionary leaders are celebrated well beyond their lifespan. And some of the most well-known today include Abraham Lincoln, who was born on the 12th of February, 1809, and died April 15, 1865. Lincoln was an American lawyer and a politician who served as the 16th president of the United States from 1861 until he was assassinated. Lincoln led the nation through civil war, its bloodiest war, and its greatest moral and constitutional and political crisis. But his leadership and vision of America made sure that today they have the America that they have. So you guys today are responsible for the Gambia tomorrow. In so doing, he preserved the Union, advocated for the abolishment of slavery, strengthened the federal government, and modernized the economy. His leadership vision is being enjoyed by modern-day America, and I think it's something that is being attested to in the books. Another of one of my favorite visionary leaders is Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is an American business magnate, an investor and speaker, a philanthropist, who serves as the chairman and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. He started from humble backgrounds, but he is considered today as one of the most successful investors in the world. His net worth in 2018 stood at $84 billion. I'm not good in mathematics, so I cannot tell you how much that is in dollars. But you guys are younger and have a sharper brain. You might be able to tell me what $84 billion is in mathematics. Another visionary leader, Steve Jobs, another American and a business magnate. I think all of us here are old enough to remember what Steve Jobs have done with the iPhone. Jobs is widely recognized as a pioneer of microcomputer revolution in the 70s and 80s. And on the 9th of January 2007, some 12 years ago, Jobs announced the iPhone at the Macworld convention, and the rest, as they say, was history. Another interesting visionary was Marconi. Marconi invented the first radio transmission. People thought that he was mad because he told them that you can stand here and speak and somebody else over there would hear what you said and it would go through the waves. At one point, I understand from research, he was then sent to a psychiatric unit to check whether he's mentally okay or not. But his vision today made it possible for us to have digital communication because the foundation of his invention. Edison, who was involved in power generation and mass communication. Jeff Bezos, when he started Amazon, people thought he was crazy, but today is one of the biggest shopping centers in the world. Then you had the Wright brothers. They felt that people can fly like birds. They invested a lot of their time, they had the vision. So it made life much easier for us today in the modern world to jump into a plane, go for our studies, go for a pilgrimage to Mecca or Rome or travel. But those guys sat there and felt that people could fly like planes. They drew the diagram, they had the vision. And another gentleman, his name is Mustafa Ali, who started as a carpenter, got into construction, and now is developing a global estate development that we have the privilege to sit next to him here today. I was privileged enough to be in the generation that knew TAF when he was, he's still a youth man, by the way. When he looked much younger, but he's still a youth man. And he's a good friend of my uncle, so I know a lot about his history. So you guys should be privileged and honored to be sitting with him here. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow youth man, in conclusion, I would like to share the story of an old man who was believed to be filled with wisdom, and he was well respected in society where he lived. One day, two young, energetic boys went to challenge him with the intent to embarrass him. They caught two birds and then went to the old man with a plan that each one will hold a bird in their hands at their back and asked the old man, which one of our hands has the bird which is alive and which one has the bird which is dead? And they decided that if he points to any one of them, the other one would strangle the bird and kill the bird to embarrass him. So he was called upon to the village choir, and the intention of the kids was to disgrace him because he was known as the wisest man in the village. After the boys explained what they wanted, he looked at the two boys holding the birds and nodded his head and responded. And I really want you guys to listen to this part because it's the key to this whole story. Young men, the life of these birds are in your tender care. It is for you to strangle them or let them fly. Ladies and gentlemen, for everyone that is sitting here in this room, let me say the future of this country is in your tender care. It is for us to mold it, for all of us to benefit, or for us to strangle Gambia and let it press. God bless you and thanks for listening.
I think all of us will agree that it was excellent. We have a lot of takeaway. I don't want to bore you by summarizing what he has said. I mean, I know a lot of people, when they chair, that's what they do. They go back onto what the speaker said and then try to summarize it. Since all of us listen to him, what I think we need to do now is to make it interactive. Let's hear your comments. I mean, you have a very good analytical mind. You are all university students. You don't have rusty brains like us. So I guess out of what he has said, you can start probably seeing yourself in what he's saying. I mean, I would just like to say again, as a leader, as a visionary, I mean, having had the vision to develop where we are today. I mean, some 15 years ago or so or more, when I was thinking about this, a lot of people were very negative about it because they couldn't share the vision. Because what a visionary does is that when you close your eyes, you can see a clear picture of where your vision is. So, I have to hear for the sound. Okay. So what happens is, as a visionary, while some people have eyes, and are looking at things, they will see what a visionary sees. A visionary doesn't have to have eyes as your eyes to see things. It's in the mind, and it's futuristic. You are looking into, ages to come, like what I just told us about Henry Ford and Steve Jobs. I'm sure they were looking at the world in the next thousands of years. People can have a very short visionary, futuristic vision. You can have a vision for the next 1 year where you want to be, the next 5 years where you want to be, the next 10 years, your lifetime, or the best of futuristic leaders, meaning those who will see life beyond their lifetime. And that's what we want to see. We want to see now you, the new futuristic leaders of this country, to think beyond our lifetime. That you want to live this world, but make it different. So let us open up the discussions, comments, what you think a visionary, a futuristic leader should be. If you have questions for President Jagana, fire it up. But please, let's warm up the room. Huh? Don't be docile or quiet. Let's open up. We have another hour or hour and a half. So shall I just open the floor? So if you have questions, please direct it to our guest lecturer, and I might come in from time to time just share my own views. So let's see your hands up. Who's going to open the floor? TAFLA, Bob the Builder. That's the one he sent me today. Where is he? Oh, Bob the Builder. I saw your comment on the group. So, okay, somebody's raised his hand.
Okay, good afternoon, fellow students, and good afternoon, Mr. Njai and Mr. Jagana, and the media people here. First, I want to say I'm part of the lucky ones to be here, and I'm grateful for that. This will go a long way in, making us potential people in the country that will develop the Gambia. And then this is a very good initiative. This type of initiatives is what will develop our country in the future. Because looking at our population, more than 60% of the population of Africa or the West Africa is youth. So this type of initiatives that would empower the driving force of the country or Africa at large is actually very, very vital and very, very crucial. So all I want to say is actually, even the initiative itself is futuristic thinking, is futuristic vision. Because how? He made mention here that in the next 5 years, he wants to at least about 1,000 people to pass through this initiative. What can that do? Look at the potential of that. At the end of the day, you will see those 50%, those 50 people can transform another 50,000. That 50,000 can transform the entire population, the entire youth population of the Gambia. And what happens if this old generation faces out? Now, the Gambia will be driven by that coming population. So we are going to have minds, sub-minds, intellectual, people trained, people who knows what to do in the Gambia, in the helm of affairs in the Gambia in the next 50 years to come. So this actually is futuristic thinking, because it's going to be manifested in the next 50 years. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
It's a compliment. But you have not actually contributed towards futuristic vision.
Okay.
Now I'm putting you on the spot. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years at the Gambia? I'm just trying to think.
Yeah. In the next 10 years.
10 years,
me as a person.
As a person, your contribution towards this country and your life and humanity.
Thank you very much. As I am training as a health personnel, I'm a final year nursing student in the University of The Gambia. So in the next 10 years, I want to see myself imparting the lives of people, actually, making sure that we have a healthy Gambia. In the next 10 years, I want to see myself spearheading at least minimum a clinic or a health center, in which part I would be making sure that the people around, the people within that community will be healthy, will be oriented when it comes to health, and actually we are going to do what we call primary health care service, whereby nobody has to sick, because everybody has to know what you have to do in order for you to avoid sickness. At the end of the day, we will have a healthy nation and we have a wealthy nation. And in that aspect, Gambia will develop.
Right now, I am shy. Please give. I want some fire. So I'll start by thanking you. You see, I'm prepared, well prepared for this Leadership Academy. That is why this is my latest watch. That's why I brought it. No, the color is gold. I'm not sure if it is gold. But one thing, we have people from the university. We have the SU, which I will start by saying kudos. But one thing I just want to make clear here is we are all one when it comes to TAFLA. That is why when the president came, the vice president, he was like, congratulations. I told him, congratulations to you too. He said, congratulations for me making it here. I'm like, congratulations too. It's important. If we want to show people that we're TAFLA, the Leadership Academy has really impacted on us, then the participants, 50, we are 50 in number, we need to make sure that our hearts are one, which is very, very important and crucial. Because futuristically, am I right? Yeah. So if we want the future to hold, I think one important thing is for our hearts to be the same. One thing he has mentioned with Henry Ford, they made sure they were seen, they were heard, and they were remembered. Right now, we should make sure that we are seen here in TAFLA. We are heard by impacting on others, being our brothers, each other's keeper. Like if you go out, let us contribute on people that have not benefited yet, are yet to benefit from this training. And inshallah, I hope and I know that we'll be remembered when those things have been done. Thank you so much. And in 5 years, I want to be rich. Yeah. And for the impact that I'm doing, I think I've already started. I'm on it. My main aim is to make people happy. That is why wherever I am, I'm making people happy. So anywhere, anyhow, I know in 5 years' time, I'll make people happy and I'll build my own legacy in making people happy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to add a comment to what Mr. Jagana had said about being a futuristic, having a... Okay, I'll also add that the most important thing when it comes to being a young leader is having positive thinking. And the reason why I'm sharing this is I recently started reading a book, Why People Fail, and those that are close to me, I have been sharing some tips about what I get from the book that I'm reading, written by Simon Reynolds. And it's really important as young leaders for us to have positive thinking, because most times we have the destructive thinking, and that does not take anyone anywhere. And that is to say, even when you see leaders who have the positive thinking, you know, and we have people around us that think we're just naive dreamers and we're not optimist thinkers, but at the end of the day, they don't get the point as to what really the vision is and where really you're trying to drive to. So my advice, I'm just giving an advice and at the same time commenting that as young leaders, putting together everything that we have been taught and also putting all the points that we have learned, you should never ever forget to think straight and make sure that whatever decision you take or in whatever road you want to, you know, start the path, just make sure that you think straight, you make the right decisions, and obviously make an impact. I see myself in the next 5 years impacting the life of girls, because that's my part. I just want to be consistent on that and making sure that girls have the opportunity to achieve their dreams and reach their full potential.
Historically, as a child growing up in Banjul, I always say that there are two key women that I will never forget. One of them is Ya Abis Njai. She used to sell one of the best akaras around my neighborhood, not far from your house. Yeah. And the other one was Ya Fat Njai. She sold the best nyambe nyebe around Tobacco Road. But then, why I mention these people, when you go there as a child, so they always push you at the back. But you see how many people that were there. She was talking to them. Some of them she'll rap and give. They were holding families together. She was a leader in her own community there. It might be 3-4 houses, but she was a leader and she had an impact, both of them. In terms of healthy, I think as a leader, for you to be able to think and have a vision, you need to have a healthy mind, you need to be physically healthy. So whatever you do, don't forget the fact that you need to invest in yourself. I think yesterday I met one of the guys from Asutec. He said on my Instagram, I said that the best thing you can do as a person is invest in yourself. How can you invest in yourself? Keep healthy, read, that is expand your knowledge, and network. If you cannot network, if you get out of your comfort zone, you'll be a failure. So as a futuristic leader, you have to be able to have the ability to network. I've learned a lot from TAF and his networking skills. And the best networking skills is to be able to have a conversation that is open-minded. Then the other thing that's mentioned by, so I didn't get your name, Hassan, is that you have to be part of a team. To make people happy, you have to be part of a team. And if you want to be happy, make sure that the people around you, I mentioned in the speech earlier, you want to be part of the eagles, not the chickens, that are saying it's not going to happen, be negative. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not going to happen, but if somebody tells you it's not going to happen, walk away, because you want to be ahead of the curve, not behind the curve. Thank you. We'll take the next set of questions and comments.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Njai, and my son, Mr. Raule. And of course, Hassan, I would start by saying that as far as you wear the t-shirts, we are all wearing the white t-shirt, not so. And it is stuff written on it, there's nothing special on my t-shirt. And you could see there's nothing like Vice President written on my t-shirt. So it clearly indicates that we are one and the same, and that we are going to walk through this 12 months of leadership training here, so we are all one. So my point to Mr. Jagana is, did you see yourself in the position that you are in today? And if there is a difference between what people call the illusionary, visionary style and also the, strategic type of vision. Like if, for example, you say that you want to become the richest person on earth, and how are you going to achieve that? For example, through building or construction. Now, if a person stands up and say, oh, I want to become the president of this country, for example, and you tend to see people, trying to tell them, oh, that's an illusion, oh, that's not a vision. Now, is there a distinction between such type of visions, like we all know, that is the strategic one? If the strategic one and the illusionary type of it, which we think, is not achievable, if really there is a difference between the two. And as a leader, you have been in various positions that you've been through. But then my question to you is, did you see yourself, the position that you are in today, and that is it the path that you designed for yourself that you should follow in order to become where you are today? Which is, if there is a fast track process or there is a direct way of going to where you are that you are now. That's my question.
I'll answer his comments, then I'll let you talk. Well, it's quite a heavy question. For me, I have a saying that is called drips. When you're sick, you go to his clinic. He'll put drips in you. It's D-R-I-P-S. And for me, DRIP stands for determination, risk, investment, and passion equals success. I mean, when I joined the Chamber of Commerce, I joined as a treasurer. But when I was there, I realized that, look, if I'm going to invest my time in Gambia, I want to be part of Gambia that is there. So I volunteer a lot of time at the Chamber to the point that I was elected president. And over time, what I've done is I've done what I would call apprenticeship. I learned a lot from people that were around me. I had board members that were older than me to be my father. They had over 20, 25 years of experience. But I went through their academy and apprenticeship. And I want to tell everybody in Gambia here, when you talk to people and talk about apprenticeship, because but at one time he was an apprentice at Balfour Beatty. No, serious. You can talk to him privately about that. But I mean, apprenticeship is learning skills of life and trade to be where you want to be. I did not wake up and wanted to be the president of the Chamber of Commerce, but I wanted to be a leader in my community. I wanted to have a positive impact in what I do. I wanted my business to have a positive impact in my community. So luckily part of that is being the president of the Chamber of Commerce. And there's no illusion. There's nothing that says that you cannot be the president of anything, be the president of the Gambia, president of a multi-billion-dollar company. But what matters is to have the desire and to follow trips, and you'll get there. There's nothing like illusion. You have to go there, work hard, get determined, take the risk, and have the passion. If you don't have the passion, you will not even pass your exams, let alone pass to the next level. That's what I believe. Thank you.
In the next 10 years, I want to become that person who will make positive impact in communities in trying to make sure that I promote peace in every nook and cranny of the globe, trying to make sure that peace is at the doorstep of everyone because it is the solution. We are all seated here because we are having that peace. You know, that's why we are all here. So basically, I want to take up the mantle of ensuring that that girl who is in Syria is not raped, and that person who is in Zimbabwe right now advocating for the government to make sure that there is peace, and there's those people, of course, who are in Palestine, of course, those young boys who have been killed every day are stopped, you know, from such brutalities. That's my wish. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I just have something short to say. I want to say I am at the right place at the right time because about a year ago, last summer, I attended this program from the Peace Corps. They have this camp for young girls from rural Gambia, and they invited me to talk to them. But after I did that, I went home, and then I had this cloud that I was a bit confused. And then I was talking to my mom, and I kept on telling her, I think these kids are being put in a box. They don't have these wild visions. I was talking to them about education, being an engineer. I was talking to them about exporting stuff and all of that. But it didn't quite register to them. There was another person who just had a small shop. She does a little bit of sewing, and then that's how she gets her livelihood. And they found a relationship with that person more than they could relate to me. So since then, I had this problem in my mind. I'm like, how are we going to take this from these young children? I wanted them to talk about exports. I want them to be PhD holders and all of that. The level of education maybe is from where they are. But right now, after listening to the lecture, I actually see it correctly and clearly. I think they should be more futuristic. Like, that is what they lack, and that is what they need. So I want to say thank you. With the knowledge I have learned here today, I can actually impact them in a certain way. So in the next 10 years, I actually have 2 plans. One is I have a fashion brand, a clothing brand. That's what I do. That's my business. I want to like, okay, I don't know how to explain it exactly, but I want Stitches to be like Gambia's biggest clothing brand, but not just in Gambia, but outside Gambia. The second one is what I studied in school. I'm studying community building and design. And if I finish, I'm a planning and design major. I want to create something like TAF and be your competition in, oh, bigger, yes, actually bigger. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Njai and Mohammed Jagana, for giving, for the lecture. And I would like to personally say thank you because few months back, is it few months or a month back, I attended the TAFCon conference, and from there I was really inspired because I believe that the government alone cannot do everything, and you're doing your own quarter, and as young people too, we can also do our own quarter. It does not even require money, but then when you have the human resources, you have all. And you made mention of what a scholar said, Helen, that a blind person is somebody who has an eyesight, but then does not have a vision, if I'm correct.
No, I said the worst thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like somebody who has an eyesight
without a vision.
That was said by a blind person, so you can imagine.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Yes, thank you. So I don't want to fall into that category. So In the next 5 years, 5 years, yes. For a start, I want to be realistic. In the next 5 years, because after the TAF Con, rather, I was inspired, and then where I live in, it's a village, Lamin village, and then I've seen like young girls like me, they are all victims of teenage pregnancies. So I was like, what is the cause of this? And I've realized that it's because they do not have quality education. And their parents, they do try, but then they don't have what it takes. So I and my aunt and few relatives, we opened and registered a foundation wherein it's called the Smart Kids Foundation. And then we gathered some of the kids there, and then we teach them. We have volunteers who coach them and teach them. And it's not all about academics also, but then we talk about puberty and changes in life. And it's not only centered on the girl child, but then both male and females, because I believe that it takes two to tango. So if you educate the girl child and leave the male child, I mean, it does not help. So from in the next 5 years rather, I want the Smart Kids Foundation to have a chapter in all the regions in the Gambia. Yes, especially the provincial areas, wherein, we can have a chapter and we can have somebody who will oversee everything. And then what we want is to have every child to be in school, wherein they will have free and quality education. And then wear clean clothes to school rather, or uniforms. And in the next 10 years, maybe we can, go to other African countries, because we have the same problem. Like this last year rather, around November, I was lucky to be part of those who were attended a conference in Ghana. And then we had simulations. And it's the same problem in all the 9 West African countries. So from the Gambia, we can, partner with other countries, or we can go to other countries in Africa and then make sure that every child has a right to free and quality education, because as Nelson Mandela said, education is the backbone of a nation, and in order for Africa to be developed, we should be educated. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good afternoon to you all. I will start by saying thank you very much for this wonderful initiation. I always say that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And I will start by sharing my life experience, just to attest to the reality of what you are saying right now. I have a vision. My vision is one thing. That is, I can do it. From my family, I have 14 siblings. All of them are dropped out. Some are dropped out from their senior school. Some are just dropped out from their upper basic. I'm not saying this because of any other reason, but just to see the vision in it. My father is a tailor, and we believe that if you are in line with the work of your parents, you can easily succeed it. That's true, but it depends on individual visions and the focus that you have. I was not with anybody to inspire me when it comes to education, because not from my brothers, not from my sisters. My dad passed away, so I couldn't have anybody to inspire me. But then I have one thing in me that always keep on inspiring me. That is the vision, the futuristic vision, which I call the futuristic vision with focused. Today, I am glad to stand here before you, to be the only person from my family who is pursuing a bachelor degree in political science in the University of The Gambia. Not only that, but even the work of my father. I try to maintain that legacy, because it's attested in the competition at Tendaba, where I emerged as the winner of the pitching competition. So in the next future, anyway, Asan, stop. In the future, I believe that in next 10 years, I will be a competitor of TAF Global Network, of course, because TAF Africa Couture, for your own notice, stuff is coming and it is on the way. In the next 10 years, inshallah, we will go globally. We will work, and I will be the first person in the Gambia here to open a tailoring workshop, a company that will be competing with other international tailors. So I thank you.
Just wanted to link your vision and the ladies. Fashion is one of the biggest industries in the world. And there's this fashion, or I'm not sure whether it's even fashion is the right word. There's this shoe manufacturing plant. They started by using recycled tires. It's called Soul Rebels. You can check them online. For some of you guys, maybe you were privileged enough not to go to Banjul market and get Padam Jahet. You know what is Padam Jahet? Okay, Padam Jahet is you go to the market, you put your foot down, they mark it around a used tire and create a shoe for you. So Food Rebels basically use Padam Jahet and went global. They're one of the biggest shoe companies in Africa. You can check them out. If you go digital, Gambia will be beyond the border. So you, him, all of it, your industries are possible. Regarding the Smart Kids chapter, you need to own your community and you need to set the narratives. If you don't set the narratives, you follow somebody's path. If you set the narrative, you become a leader and people follow you. So believe me, you can do it. So just make sure that you believe in yourself. It will happen. All three of you and everybody here. That's my reply to your comments. Thanks.
I just want to say this. The young man, I always carry this with me. That's one of my passions. Tailoring. I do tailoring. And actually, Mr. President walked in. You see many things I wear. The outfit, I wear some outfit, some two-piece outfit all the time. They're done in Nigeria. So look at this. So those are the measurements I took for him yesterday. He walked in, I said, let me give you a present. So I took the measurement because this is one thing that I never part with. I always walk around with my tape line. And I don't want to bore you with a very long story of how I became a tailor or I found a passion for tailoring. So again, where's the gentleman? Keep your passion. Remember, and some of you have attended some of the sessions I had on about passion. So I have a very deep passion for fashion. So I do a lot of measurements. I measure myself. You know, I design on what I want to wear. You know, and now my friends, when they see me, admire what I do. What I do is I do all the measurements for them. And technology, you know what? The tailor is in Port Harcourt. So I just send it to him on WhatsApp. And then within some few moments, it's ready. If somebody's coming, they pick it up and bring it along. So please keep your passion. Huh? I would like to see you to be a Vishashi, huh? Or Yves Saint Laurent. Keep it up.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And what I wanted to say is, like 2 years back, I think I wanted to be on the spotlight. I wanted to be a model. I wanted to be on billboards. I wanted to be on the runway. Like, that was my dream 2 years ago. But then I realized that it wasn't actually my dream. It was something that people wanted from me. They'd be like, look at your body. Like, you can be a model. Like, look at your body. You can be on the billboards. And then actually I tried doing that. I actually went into the modeling industry. But I wasn't consistent. Like, if people are going for training, I would rather stay at home than go to trainings. Like, I wasn't doing the effort that people actually did. So my modeling career was actually a failure. So my point is, after all the lectures that I've listened to, what I realized is that self-discipline and consistency really matters in your vision. So I'm glad I'm not to be here. And then I'm glad that I've left that dream of being on billboards and on runways out there. And in 3 years, I will actually want to do something for women, especially I'm the single mothers. I will want to embark on economic empowerment of women. And then that is not only going to be in the Gambia. I want it to be like, I want it to be like a regional thing, like Africa per se. I have actually, a few people that I am actually trying to work with, so each and every one of us can actually extend a foundation in the, like that. let me know, like, it's just 5 countries: Togo, Cameroon, Gambia, and Nigeria. And then it's like 4 of us. And then we actually had a training on regional and international human rights. And then that's when we bonded. And then right now, all of us are actually thinking of establishing a foundation and having like a replica of that foundation in all the African. Yes, basically that's my point. I just want to empower women, and like I just want social justice to prevail. Like that's my part. I'm the social justice. Okay, thank you. I suck at talking.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much for this unique opportunity to gather with intellectuals and of course our potential role models. My name is John Mendy. First of all, I want to just add up to what Jagana was saying in his presentation, that futuristic leadership, that is a person that has a vision and is able to communicate that vision to the wider populace and able to inject that inspiration to people so that they can become somebody and able to transform self and transform society, which is very brilliant. But I think also, in addition to that, I think I want to mention one thing that is very, very paramount. That is in the mission. And in the mission to become somebody or to arrive at your destiny, somebody must have to be conscious of many things, which I think in this juncture, I think I will have to talk about time. Doing first thing first is very paramount in accomplishing your goal. And I think that we are losing sight of the value of time, particularly in the Gambia, and that is affecting our accomplishment as a nation and as a people as well. So I think time is very, very crucial as far as success is concerned, and doing first thing first is also important because there are a lot of distractors. If you want to accomplish anything, there are a lot of things that will come your way, and then you need to have time for yourself and decide to put the first goal. And when you pursue the first goal and being conscious of time, you will be able to accomplish something at the end of the day. And that's what makes you a great leader. Aside from that, he challenged us to talk about what we want to be in next 10 years. I think I will prefer talking about my 5 years to come. Probably I'm thinking that 10 years is pretty longer. And in 5 years to come, I want to be one of the youngest Gambians with a PhD, with a doctorate degree. And why do I want to get this degree at this moment is that I will subscribe to the view of Nelson Mandela that education is the most powerful weapon that transforms society and propel it to another level. I want to get the degree, of course, yes, but I want to be an intellectual of a different type, a public intellectual, an organic intellectual that is ready to face the problem and solve the problem. There's somebody who do not only pursue the money, but pursue the transformation of humanity. So that is the type of intellectual that I want to be in the few years to come, and also a diplomat also. In the 10 years to come, I would like to be a first Gambian, perhaps, to work as the Secretary General of the United Nations. Yeah. So I would like to work with the United Nations as Secretary General. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, colleagues, and to our guest lecturer, TAF. Okay, I would just like to buttress a bit, hence there is no more time or much time, about futuristic leader. I think futuristic leader is basically talking about the ability of an individual coupled with the interest and the goal that you want to achieve that comes together to give you the futuristic vision that you have. If you have the ability, you don't have the interest, obviously you can make a vision. So you have the ability, the interest, and the goal coupled together, then you have the futuristic vision that you want to achieve. Okay, I just want to quote from this young man, that is Robert Kiyosaki, is an author who said, the rich dad, poor dad. So one reason poor people are poor is because they are not trained to recognize entrepreneurship opportunities. See, they are not trained for them to become or they don't take the opportunity of being that trained to recognize entrepreneurship. Like what I want to be in the next 5 years, like recently I'm a teacher by profession, but through that, whether I continue to become a teacher or not, what I want at least to help people or young people to at least recognize themselves in various areas of their interests, to make sure they do not depend on others for them to be employed, but instead employ themselves. I personally, I would like to have my own entrepreneurship. That is, in the next 10 years, hopefully, inshallah, I will be starting it. Like, I would like to have a Barry's sheep fattening enterprise. That's what I want to have, inshallah.
All right, good afternoon to you all. I'm just gonna keep it short and precise. Mr. Jagana, when Mr. Njai read your bio, I was actually wowed with everything that you've actually achieved. So I just want to throw a quick question to you. That is, I am sure you've had a vision growing up to this level in order to get to whatever level that you've actually achieved. So I want you to share with us, the young ones, some of the setbacks and how were you able to pull yourself out of this to be the person that you are today. And secondly, being a speaker that have actually had the opportunity to talk to a lot of young people out there and to inspire people, what are some of the commonest frustrations young people share with you? And if there are, what are some of the things that you tell these young people in order to pull themselves out of some of those things? Finally, to my vision, being one of the nurses in the country that engage himself with a lot of things, I want to make sure that in the next 10 years, the face of nursing in this country is changed, because nurses are 90% of all healthcare providers across the world, that's stated by WHO. Therefore, making sure that the face of that change means our healthcare sector is going to be better, and then the quality of care will be provided to a lot of people. Lastly, yes, being one of the person that is engaged with the children, I believe that harnessing the talent of kids is important for our economic transformation. Therefore, the initiative that we founded, Kids Got Talent, I want to make sure that this reaches every corner of this country in making sure that a child in Dembakunda is not left out because of the inability of platform in order to transform his life and the life of other people that surround that particular person. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Sajang Dumboya. When I was a girl, I was raised like a boy. So my dad would allow me to do a lot of things. I change vehicle tires, I pump them, I ride bikes for a long distance, taking lunch to my dad's enterprise, and a lot of things I just don't want to say. But with all the challenges I've faced in my life, I am a single mom, by the way, I always make sure that I am past the level of my age mates or my colleagues or people that think they are close to me, or I don't know how to say it. What I try to make sure is I look at everybody in a healthy way. I don't see anybody as competition. I just try to be better. That's me. I try to be better than all of you, let me say, to be very frank. Yeah. Yes, that's the honest thing. I try to be better. And how I do this, I try to make sure that I have a very positive thinking and also be very active in a lot of things that I do, in all of the things that I do. Personally, I do a lot of things. I do coaching, I do mentorship, I do modeling, I do singing, I do drama, I do a lot of things that I can't just say here. So in the next 10 years, I would like to have the biggest multimedia production house in the Gambia. And I would also like to be, by the way, John, the first female Secretary General of the United Nations. Yes. Yes, I've always wrote that on my bags all throughout my primary school. I just took pens and then wrote at my back, my school bag, first female Secretary General of United Nations, all the way to junior school, high school. It was all over me, and I really hope to make up to the dream. So I also want to specialize in alternative dispute resolution and peace and conflict resolution because I'm best at talking to people, which so many people confessed in me, and I also found it in me. And for Mr. Njaya and Mr. Jagana, I feel when I was coming to this academy, I was so excited. I was like, they're going to take us to a lot of things. We're going to do a lot of activities. But on the program guide, we were told that you were going to give us the things we are going to be dealing with. I didn't hear any activities, so I was a little sad. I want to know if we're going to be sitting here all the time, or we're going to be going out, doing more practicals, you know. Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I want to know. We didn't hear that part clearly, did you?
Thank you. Okay. You get the answers, response by the time we summarize.
Good afternoon, or is it good evening, everybody? I am Ibrahim Ajabate from the School of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences. I'm very impressed by what you guys did today. I was inspired by you, Mr. Is it Jagana? Jagana. Yeah. Oh, Mohammed. Well, I have a short time span. I actually don't talk much, so I'll come straight down to what I think, what I want to be in 10 years. Well, I think 10 years is short for me. I think my vision, it goes beyond 10 years. Great. Yeah, so the vision I have is, it corresponds to what Hassan has said. My vision is in the health sector. I'm studying medicine, so when I finish, I want to make sure that I revitalize the health system of the country. I want to form a foundation. When I say a foundation, I don't mean this petty foundations, no. So we're talking about a big deal foundation, something a big deal, like not small deal. Like in a foundation, I mean, there will be a big time hospital. When you say a hospital, you have all facilities in the country. That means you do not have to transport any of your family members abroad for medical care. And there will be free medical care. There will be subsidies, there will be free, there will be subsidies too. Let me make that point clear. So I'll make sure that I provide that. I'll make sure that I have partnership with a lot of university students. I'm seeing all of you, some studying journalism, political science, and management. I want to see university students help me build my foundation and also form partners abroad, because I've already discussed the idea with a lot of people abroad, so they'll be willing to help me, and people here will be more helpful. So thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I would love to share my little story, but before that, I think I have a question for Mr. Njai and Mr. Jagana. I am Yusuf Famboub, a third-year student studying accounting and finance at the University of The Gambia. I think the question, I have this argument with people that I encountered before, that before you become a successful businessman, that is, before you become a successful businessman, you need to go through work experience. I have this argument that you should not go through work experience. You just have to have your vision, and then you work towards your vision. So I have this question to put to both of you to answer whether you need to get the experience, or you need to have your vision and work towards it. I will share my story. I am a young man. I am also an entrepreneur. I've started something which I was working before. I was a banker. Then from there, I decided to quit banking to come and start my own thing. And when I worked in my saving, I have 45,000 by the time I was leaving banking. I said, wow, what can I do with this 45,000? Do I need to, because I was supposed to start a university by then, that 45,000. I also supposed to start a business with that 45,000. I asked myself, what can I start with this 45,000 that I can pay for my tuition fee, I can support myself, and I can support those around me? I said, no, I must think of something that when I venture into it, I will be able to get something. I said, okay, now let me go to agriculture, because I know that a lot of things in this country, a lot of agriculture is an opportunity to make money in this country. I decided to take the 25,000, put it in my school fees, then the 20,000 I venture it into agriculture. I went into cassava business, used to go to these villages, buy cassava, bring it to the town here, sell it. At the end of the day, I will go back, have my profit, go back, invest my capital and my profit, reinvest it again, and then I will come back. That's how I started. From there, I move on from there. I venture into this general merchandise business. I started with electronics. Now I have my own shop that I'm operating, selling electronics. I moved on from there also. I said, no, that's not enough. I need to also look into other things. I said, what are some of the things that I need to do to make sure that I have greater capital, I have greater revenue? I said, okay, now let me just go for the second hand, because I realized that most of the people in this country cannot afford first-hand goods. So I decided to venture into second-hand business. And right now also I have my own established business, that is Mubin's Trading Company, that is trying to make sure that every needs of these people are provided to their doorsteps. And also in the next 5 years, what I have, the vision that I have in the next 5 years, because I have a long-term and a short-term plan. My long-term plan is going to be to establish a company whereby I will be able to consume, or I will be able to, our people, that is the people that are producing groundnut, they don't need to export their groundnut. We will have factory here, like the Gambia Milling Factory, whereby we will use these groundnuts. We will use this groundnut, process it into final products like oil, soap, and other things, and we will sell it to the people instead of selling it to the outside, and they will process it. In turn, they will come and sell it back to us with prices that are not good. So my short-term plan is this. That is in the next 5 years, that's my short-term plan. Oh, should I say 2 years? Because I saw an opportunity. The opportunity is, I realized that, let's talk about the KMC region. The biggest problem that KMC is facing, yes, the biggest problem that KMC is facing is rubbish collection. I see that rubbish collection as an opportunity for me to make money. That is, if I set up my own rubbish collection factory, whereby I will go to KMC, I will tender my, I will ask them to give me the work of collecting rubbish. At the end of the day, I will make money, I will employ people. At the end of the day, there will be no littering around. Thank you very much.
Thank you, well done.
First of all, I just want to share some few things on the subject matter today. That's the Futuristic Vision. Many things has been said, really awesome when it comes to the subject matter. But there are very key fundamental things that he put some of them across, that is Mr. Jagana. When we talk about the Futuristic Vision, it goes with a lot of issues that has to do with our positive thinking that Isa made mention of. But there are also things that are added to this positive thinking. A key driver to this is our passion. When you think positively about something, it naturally evolves in you as your passion. So this passion is something that serves as your biggest energy driver towards whatever you want to do. I believe one clear example that we have in front of us here is Mr. Njai. Being passionate about what he does, shaped the vision into a futuristic version of the vision, and that is why he was able to work towards it to a day like today. So today we're here, and the subject matter the academy couldn't have started with a more appropriate subject than the futuristic vision, because we all sharing where do we want to be come in the next 10 years or in the next 5 years or even beyond. So this is, we're shaping the 1 year, we're shaping the future, we're shaping the entire academic endeavor towards where do we want to be. And when we decide to form this, our ideas in the vision, we look at many things, not only at a personal level, because the ideals of the academy is beyond our personal growth or personal development. It's said, where do I want to be? Where do we want to be? Or where do I want to see them? As we shape this in our mind and we think around them, we grow not only growing, at some point you will be the only one who will be there, but people around you will go along you, and those that are there will also be moving. Then when you are there, you don't have to struggle to come down, to lift those people that are on the ground, to hold their hands, to come and meet you where you are. Your growth will be meaningless if people that are behind you couldn't be able to elevate themselves to get to where you are. Today he's doing a backward investment on a generation that us are just optimistic on what will be the future for all of us. This is a vision that we are shaping today. We're coining it around what do we want, and where do we want, and where do we want our people to be. When it comes to growth, I'm a capitalist, personally. When it comes to development, I'm a socialist. I believe on people first, and when it comes to let's grow, I have no limitation when it comes to either investment or when it comes to massive mobilization. But when it comes to the growth of people, I'm also very focused on capacity. That is why those who don't know me very well, I'm more focused on building the capacity, especially for the young people, the teenagers, and those that are young people that are going to take up the mantle of leadership after you and after me. Because in whatever we do, when we don't invest on the unknown, then when the unknown is unveiled to us, then we have questions to answer. And when we cannot answer those questions, then our future will be in a cloud in motion. So let me just say, I am not the guest speaker. The guest speaker really did justice to the subject matter. And I was sitting there and say, oh my God, it couldn't be a better subject for the academy to start with. So moving forward, I just want to say, I want to do something. I have never had the vision to work for anybody. That is my vision. And I will start off my own initiative. Wherever I am, wherever you see me, come the next few years, consider it as I am passing by. I'm not in a haste for anything. I want to continue learning. In as much I have the space, I will continue to learn. But so that when I get there, it will not be an era of I should have waited or I should have started this way. When I get there, it will be something that we all look at and say, yes, this is what we needed, and this is what the country needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. My name is Ibrahim El Damfa. I am glad to be here. As you said, it should be short and precise. One has to go straight to the point. And then I want to make a reflection of my vision to what you've been doing along the line, that is helping people to understand and realize their dreams, like entrepreneurship and others. But for me, I want to shift it in the other way around. Now, let us look at our country at large, and let us look at our workforce. To your dismay, you might understand or you might know that this country's workforce, 60 to 65% of the young men and women who are working in this country does not even have a comprehensive job description, do not even know their terms of reference as far as their duties are concerned in this country. And I want to believe this is why we have a scattered workforce. This is why we don't have a directive workforce. It is not only about people who have the vision to do it, about people who want to go buy and resell, but it's about people who are serving other people. It's about people who are paid from our coffers. Are they doing what is expected of them? And I want to believe, these people can do what is required of them if they don't know what is expected of them. How can they know what is expected of them? By having a comprehensive job description. To make it short again, I am currently the president of Economics and Management Students Association of the University of The Gambia, and my vision is to be the president of this country one day. Yes, that is exactly what I have in this charter. And I want to understand that in getting there, you must have what is called a ladder. You have to step on it and get to up to where you are, up to where you want to be. And in doing that, you have to start from somewhere. That is why today I started from the School of Business and Public Administration. And tomorrow, I want to also be the president of the University of The Gambia Student Union. Then from there, I want to move the ladder up to the presidency pole. Thank you very much.
Let's have
Well, I have listened to everyone like speak their mind and say something, but I haven't heard anyone like talk about what the government should do. Maybe because I'm studying politics and I see everything in the political aspect or anything. Let's say it's leadership. It shouldn't be just us. It's a collective thing. We are talking about Gambia here. So when we have our own quota to play, they also have their own quota to play. Let's say the thing we have, like Gambia to be precise, is they don't believe in us, the youth, especially the government. Let's take an example, the Faraba Banta campus. It's the Indians who are building that campus. But then we have constructors here, like we have Uncle TAF. This thing should have been given to him. If it was given to him, the money will also stay in the Gambia. But then you cannot go and look for loan and then invest. You're supposed to invest it here so that you can pay, but then you take that loan and then pay it to another nationality, which means you're paying that loan twice. And then they don't believe in us because we have GTTI, we have other architects. They could have given it to us, and we would see how best, like practice makes perfect. Even if we cannot do it, we can try and do it. They don't believe in us, and our learning is so abstract. It stops within the four corners of the classroom. We are not being taught what is out there. They will tell us Uncle TAF is a guy, but they don't show us if he's really a guy. And that's the problem. And I have my vision, let's say in 5 years' time. Let's say it's not much, but I think I will make sure, or maybe half of the Gambians engage in politics. Because as Gambians, when you engage in politics as a little kid or something, they tell you, yo halenga, hamalolingawa. And the other thing is, let's say we will make sure at least everyone tries to understand the constitution of the Gambia. At least it should be taught at high school level, so that we will know what we should expect from the government and what the government should expect from us. And then we will see how best we can help to make Gambia better and bigger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Njai, I just have a short concern. I am Musa Baji from the Students' Union. And my concern is, I hope it will not be a session where we'll be allowed to swim, but we will not be allowed to get wet. The issue here is we are to become leaders of this nation. And we understand that to understand tomorrow, you have to understand today. So I don't know whether we'll have sessions where we'll talk about the problems of this nation, and as leaders of this country, we make sure that those problems don't come again, and we try to provide solutions for them. That's my concern, please.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Aminata Jaite, a development student. Basically, I'd like to commend all those that make this Leadership Academy a success. It's really interesting, and I hope we're all going to learn a lot from it. Basically, I know that futuristic vision is something that is very important, and it guides us to the right path. Like, it gives us a focus on what we exactly want to do, and it also gives us that sense of direction to exactly go in for what we want to do. So I would just like to commend all of those that contributed to the success. Basically, in a few years' time, or like in 5 to 10 years' time, as a development student, I want to see myself as someone who contributes to the lives and livelihoods of poor people. Because some time ago in 2018, when the Vice President of the Gambia stood in TV and said, the Gambia is a country that is currently food insufficient or food insecure, I stood by myself and I was like, what exactly is the problem? Is it because we don't have the farms, or is it because we don't have the land to make the Gambia a country that has to produce food crops for its citizens, because we are not that much? So I started thinking about all of these things, and I was able to figure out some few problems that are contributing to this. So basically, currently I'm working with few friends on an initiative that is basically geared towards helping poor farmers and also helping the Gambia to become food sufficient. So in the 5 years' time, I want to see myself as someone who helps the Gambia to be able to combat the food insecurity that we are currently facing. Thank you.
Last but not the least.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name is Fode Sise. I will also talk about the same thing that is on the board, that is leadership. And I want to say leadership is just summarized in one word, which is action. And then that action also should be in direction with something that is consistency. And your consistency also should be in direction with time. So you'll see that there is a chain. Your vision, action, consistency, and time must be in place in order for you to be success as a leader. The next 10 years to come, I mean, I will bring it down to 5 years to come. I mean, my brother John, you'll expect to work with me at the UN level. Okay, so I wanted to say something. I mean, currently, I am a constructive health advocate as a student. I mean, where I normally have radio programs every Friday on DHK FM from the hours of 1600 hours to 1900 hours every Friday. I mean, because I want to see the Gambia in a level where actually we, right now, when we think of something, like he mentioned it here, if you close your eye, you think of something in the future. Obviously, when I close my eyes, I see Gambia on top of the mountains. And where exactly, this is, as Hassan says, we are going to make sure that the Gambia reach at this level in terms of health-wise. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Wow, I'm inspired. Now allow President Jagana to respond to most of your questions, and then I will do the closing remarks.
Thank you. I'm not sure whether speaking was the privilege or listening to you, but I think it was more of listening to you, because I have seen so much passion in the young people that are around here. I would hope that some of you guys would continue to pursue to talk to me, because you raise so many issues that are so relevant as individuals, but as a group, it is something that can move the country forward. I'll start with our model first. She mentioned failure. By the way, I failed in a couple of businesses, so failure is something that anybody who wants to succeed, you need to try. So if you fail, don't give up. What matters is to have the passion and determination to succeed. It's just like a child trying to walk. When they fall, they get up and try to walk again. So failure is part of success. But what matters is the effort that you do and the investment you put in yourself. And your idea, don't think about for as small. When TAF started in Banjul, but today he's thinking global. So you have an opportunity to look up to somebody who started in Gambia and thinking global and acting global. So this is an opportunity that you can really use. Somebody also mentioned about time, and I think it's a challenge in this country. We just don't seem to respect time. So one of my passions over the years is to make sure I am in a place 15 minutes before my appointment. So my chairman here says that I always put him under pressure when we have an appointment, because he knows that I'm always there on time. But then if you're there on time, that means you respect the person you're going to visit, and they will reciprocate the respect. That means that you have a plan to be successful, because part of success and vision is that you have to plan things over time and think things over time. So time is very important. The ability to desire something adds to success. And I think one of the biggest problems we have as a country, people do not like to go through apprenticeship. Somebody asked in terms of entrepreneurship, I think it was Mboob, regarding do you need to train somebody? I always say that you cannot train somebody to be an entrepreneur. They first of all have to have the passion. And I want to ask everybody here in this room, who do you think is the most successful businesswoman in the Gambia? I mean, I have two people in my mind, Musukeba Drame and Mrs. Harriet Ndau. Yes, Mrs. Harriet Ndau, look at her face. She was like, No, but teaching is business. So where's the teacher? Somebody mentioned about teaching. Somebody mentioned about teaching. Look, education is one of the biggest global businesses in the world. Today, you don't go to Harvard without paying $100,000. You don't go to Gambia University without paying at least $30,000. So there is a very big opportunity. And when I talk to young people, I always ask them this question: who is the most successful businesswoman in the Gambia? To me, it's Mrs. Ndau, because what she has done over the years, and Musikeba Drame, because what she has done in terms of tourism, which is a very major contributor to our economy. Ambition is important, and I think I've picked up some of the key words in terms of ambition and the market opportunity. If you don't have the ambition, you will not see the market opportunity, because Mr. Mboub said he moved from cassava to electronics to this. One day you'll be seeing him flying in his private jet, and you're like, damn, can you walk on class? No, it's not a laughing matter, but he has the ambition. And he's seeing the market, and he's going after the market. So if you have the ambition, the passion, and the drive, with a little bit of luck from God, you'll be successful. Where's my dear political friend? I really like your attitude. And I think I'll just close with a quote from the governor of Kaduna. He was giving a talk to some Nigerians in London at Chatham House. He said, you guys sitting here with your LLB, PhD, double masters, you are entitled to one thing, the same as the local market woman in Nigeria. She's entitled to one thing, and that is a vote. It doesn't matter what degree or title you have. The president of the country, when he goes to the ballot box, is entitled to one vote. And if you want to change that, that means that you have to invest in knowing what your constitutional rights are, in knowing what you as an individual can contribute to your community. And I want a pledge from all of you guys that by next year, 31st of January, each one of you here would have planted 3 trees in your neighborhood. You know why it's important to have the trees? Because you're planting a future for somebody to sit underneath the shade that he or she would benefit from. Because TAF is planting a tree for you today, and you're going to benefit from that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you so much. Let's give another round of applause for our honorable speaker. I think you can be seated now. Huh? You can now free up your legs, huh? So thank you very much. I think in summary, I mean, I would like to respond to some of the questions that were asked. I think there was a question that was asked if we're going to have something different from this. You know, in life you learn. And this is not my specialty. This is the first time we're doing this. And as you learn, you listen to others. And that has been my life. I am not here to give you answers. We're here together. You are the first students of this academy. And I have no experience whatsoever on what it takes to run a leadership academy. But I learn. And today we learn by the tools that we have with us. I will go into the internet, I will network, I will try to reach out to the best of academies in the world. Now the reason why you guys are here today, you need to be aware that all the good leaders in the world, especially in the advanced world, they go through some training. In America, when you're out of here, go and Google up Aspen, A-S-P-E-N, Aspen. Most American presidents and top-notch business people don't go through Aspen. They are taught a lot of things on leadership. So I think there's the need to have something like this in this country. So how we do it, we have our ideas, and that is one, to have the list of subjects that we need to discuss and have visiting lecturers. Today we started with President Jagana. We are also trying to identify, as I said earlier, you know, prominent and credible Gambians. There are Gambians in this country who are very quiet, who should be known, who are knowledgeable, who should be role models. It's not those of us that you see every day. Some of us are very, we're very visible. You see us all the time. But there are Gambians who are of good integrity, good dignity, that you guys need to know. So that you will say, well, I want to be like this guy when I grow up. So, in our own contribution, I know that the lady politician mentioned the issue about government. Remember when I started, there are a lot of forums where people talk about government and government relationship. Now I am taking you through my own direction. And my own direction is that I never waited for a government. My success wasn't based on a government. And you are the judge to who I am today. And I think that's what the country needs today. We need to stop the blame game. Yes, we all know what government should do, and we always rely on them, like the way we have our parents. We all look up to our parents and say, they've not done enough for us. But very soon you'll get there where you will know what your parents face, why they are not doing these things for you. The reason why we want to engage you now, as I said earlier, is that you guys in the next 1 year or so, you'll be employed. You have responsibilities. Like now, Fatou Jang has been employed. Fatou, by the way, we employed her. She's the coordinator of the foundation. So she's been employed already. So she's in a leadership role now. Now, the reason why we're launching this initiative, we don't want you guys to go there and not well prepared. Or you start the blame game for whoever is there and not doing it rightly. So for me personally, I think I have all the time in the world now for people like yourselves. I mean, I close my work at about 2 o'clock. I'm not very busy when I'm in the Gambia. I don't come to work before 10 o'clock. I mean, after my Fajr prayers, I go to sleep again, for another 2 hours or 3 hours, and then do my exercise on the beach when it's low tide. I'm always dressed up like this. The thing I hate most is being called for a meeting in a government office. Because I come with my sneakers and my cap with my t-shirts. And honestly, I think I've gone past that stage. So the time that I have left now in this world is to give back. And what I give back is not the money. It's my knowledge and my experience. So therefore, the way that we should moving forward is all up to you guys. This room has been dedicated for this. We could have rented it out. We could have made money out of this. But no, it is meant for the academy. We're going to buy chairs, so at any one time we'll have the chairs. Yesterday, we bought the PA system. We don't need the press. If they want, they can come. If they want, they wouldn't come. We appreciate you though. But when we do other sessions, for example, if you guys came to me and said, look, Uncle Taf, I think we need to deliberate on this. Please call me anytime. Any day between 4 o'clock to 6, I'm available. So take the baton, go for the ball. It's your duty. What I have, what Mr. Jagana has already, the experience that he has, he doesn't need you, you need him. You need us. So therefore, you must take the bold step of moving, going for the ball. So I would like to open that up, that how this is done. We know that we have agreed on having a lecture once every month. This will be on because we have 12 different topics that we need to discuss. But in the interim, as a team, and I want to see all 50 here. Fatou, I like the one you said that if anybody is absent for 3 times, you're out. So we need to have a roll call. Let us have all your names there, no excuses. If Mr. Jagana can leave everything that he is doing and sit here for 3-4 hours, you should be here. If I am here for this long, you should be here. We're paying for the power. There's water, there's food, there are t-shirts. The least you can do is to come here and on time. It's for your own benefit. I know we always ask for this, what kind of the government's role, like we the youth. My friend, we were youth. And we are still, aren't we? But please, let us stop the blame game. For me, that's the direction I want to go. Growing up, we never had the blame game. I'm sure as I do these lectures over and over again, we have worked as dock workers when we were in Form 2, Form 3. We used to work at GPMB when they imported rice or groundnut cake, exporting groundnut cake. Because we wanted to make money at about age of 14, 15, we were working inside the hole to make money. We're not begging our parents. So you are now privileged. You are going in a university in the Gambia. When we were at your age, we never had the opportunity even to see a university. So you are privileged. I keep telling you this thing all the time. You are privileged. There are very young people like yourself who doesn't have the opportunity to sit where you are sitting. So please make good use of it. Now we want to influence you positively so you will become, better leaders. So on that note, again, I thank you so much for coming. As I said, I'm here till, I travel tomorrow. I don't want to tell you about my schedule. I have a very crazy schedule. But I love it. This is what I do. I came in from Nigeria 2 days ago in the morning. Tomorrow I'm going to Tivaouane for Gamo. Then I come back on Monday. End of next week, actually, I'm off to the US. I have the same thing. I'm a panelist in Harvard Business School. Then I come back and I am going to Rwanda as a guest speaker in some African CEO business. So therefore, not to clap, I'm not, but please, the thing is, we need to, so please, 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 during my schedule here, this room is here. Make good use of it. Let us sit down. I am available, I'm telling you this. If you contact Fatu, and I will only deal with the numbers, 50. So you must make time for it. If you said, Uncle TAF, we want to talk to this guy, do you know him? We'll bring them here. They will come, they want to talk to you. But please, let us stop the blame game. We are not going to entertain any dialogue here that we start blaming government. No. We want to now put into you guys on what you can do. If Mustafa Ali or Muhammad Jagana, all of us coming from modest backgrounds, can be where you are, you can be better than us. That's what we want to see from you. That you should be better than us. You should be catapulted up there. So again, on that note, thank you so much. President Jagana, thank you. I'm not surprised. I know he believes in this. He believes in you. So let's go and have some food. And God bless you. And we hope to see the next leaders tomorrow. Thank you.